Hi guys, Mr. Henry Vargas here, CEO of Cannabis Asociados. I'm going to share with you real quick how you can have your own cannabis business in as little as 30 days. Let me make something clear, your own legal cannabis company in as little as 30 days. So traditionally there's actually what there's mostly only known one way of getting licensed in Colombia or operating legally, and that is getting your business licenses with the necessary entities, state and government entities, to be able to operate legally. That route, which is used to was is seen oftentimes as the only route, is the most known route, right? So obviously, it can take a process of between 1 to 2 years, and even so, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be approved, and it costs between $60,000 and $70,000 just to get the licenses. Okay, so that's the traditional route. That's one way of operating legally. It's not the best way, but if it's the only way you have, then you can do that. It's expensive and it's time. This takes so much time. And if you all know about business success in business, as I learned from my mentor, is that speed is essential in business. Right? You gotta be able to make decisions and move quickly on opportunities. Right, first to market, or quickest to market. So that's the traditional route. It takes a long time and it's a little bit costly. Not $60,000, $70,000 might not be a lot of money for some businesses, and it's not. But even if it's not that, still 2 years, 1 2 years, is a lot of time to wait. So another option that you have for you available here in Colombia, as far as getting started with your own legal cannabis business, is you can actually partner with a licensed company. So let's say you find a company that's already licensed for, let's say, if you want to do farming or if you want to do research and development. Depends, the license, obviously, whatever relevant license. You find a company that's licensed with the relevant license, and you do a joint venture with them, which basically you approach them and say, hey, listen, I want to start a new company. Let's start a new business where you get. Now the thing with this that often makes this that stops a lot of people from pursuing this is that you have to give up equity by law. The licensed entity has to have at least 50% of the shares in your company. So a lot of people, this is a drawback. A lot of people, that's a killer on this option. They don't really want to give up, equity in their business. But as I've learned from my mentor Dan Pena and all the big players, you gotta give up part of your dream to be able to really get it to go where you want it to go, right? So anyway, the second option you have is doing partnerships. Again, it's a quick way. You can get started in less than 30 days. Again, you have to have the additional all the money for the infrastructure or the other additional stuff that you want to do specifically. But it's the quickest way you can get legally operable in within 30 days. So partnerships, that's the second option, which is a better option because there's obviously fees and things that you got to negotiate. But it's a better option, I believe, in my mind, than going the traditional route. And here's another thing, because you can actually partner with someone, build a company up while you apply for your licenses, right? So that's another option, which I'll touch more about that in a second. But so now what I'm going to talk about is what I call the Colombian Edge, right? This one piece of legislation, this one structure, this one model is what is literally put Colombia. I mean, besides the fact that it has wonderful year-round farming climate, the fact that the production costs and labor costs are so low, and the fact that there's fledgling its new legislation that's so far been favorable and is still be because it's so young, we have the possibility to influence it, to be able to make an influence to positively, so it benefits the industry as a whole. Um, so that's another option, is to do partnerships. The third option is what I call the Colombian Edge. Is what you can actually do is you can actually rent a license agreement, which is faster and cheaper than it's much faster and cheaper, certainly much cheaper than applying for your licenses, right? And it's another option because if you don't want to give up equity in your dream, you can simply rent a license and keep all of the equity. Of course, that's your choice. There's some additional things that you need to make sure that you're aware of. If you are going to partner with a company that's licensed, you want to make sure that you have one of the following CIIU codes, business activity codes, listed in your activity, and or make sure one of your potential partner companies, your potential partner company has one of these listed as well, which I can tell you because I looked into all of them. There is only one other company that has this specific activity listed. And they were unresponsive. They didn't even answer. I don't even know if they're in existence anymore. So you want to make sure you see these, at least one of these numbers on there, asking if they're registered with this code. And the first one is 7740. Okay, 7740. And what this is that's the activity of renting intellectual property, right? And what that is basically the rental of your license, right? The rental of the license. So you want to make sure that if you're partnering with a company, you want to make sure that they have that allowable, and if they don't, then you want to make sure that activity is listed on the new company's registrations. Make sure that activity is on there so you can benefit from renting the licenses to others as well, right? Which is something I'm going to talk about again a little bit further down the line. And so the second code is 9411, 9411. And this one is important because this is the service of partnerships. Okay, so basically you can do partnerships. You can offer partnerships as a service to companies that want to get into the industry. So again, if you already have your license or you think about getting your license, this is, in my opinion, the ideal climate for encouraging the cannabis industry, because here's what the beautiful thing is that you can partner with a licensed entity, and as long as you put the right activity code on your registration, again, you want to make sure you put 7740 as one of your primary business activities, because then what's going to happen, what you can do is, now that you have that entity, you can make rental agreements to other companies that want to get started in Colombia. So without trying to keep it as simple as possible, basically you can partner with a licensed company, and then what you can do is find people who want to get into cannabis, and let them know that they can rent your licenses to get started quickly in the cannabis industry here in Colombia, which does two things. It provides an income for you, a steady rental income, and you can, if you choose to, you can operate, and build your cannabis business if you choose to, or you can just keep it as a rental agreement, as a rental business that provides income for you. So that's the Colombian Edge. Those are the two activities you want to make sure you have listed. And then now I'm going to share with you the specific insurance policies that you want to have. If you're going to rent your license agreement, if you're going to rent licenses, right? Or if you're going to make rental agreements, you want to make sure that you have these two policies, which are actively being written, and so you don't have to look. There's no excuse. First one is Póliza de Cumplimiento, which basically guarantees a percentage of the rental agreement, the rental value, to the license owner or the company owner to the originator of the agreement, right? So it protects a certain percentage of the rental agreement. The second one is RCE, Póliza de Responsabilidad Civil Extracontractual, which means if the person who is renting your license agreement should do any damages to your land, if you're renting them lands or any of your properties, you are not, this insurance policy obviously covers those damages. So you want to make sure you have those two policies. Now let me see, I'm checking my notes here, what else I got here. So, okay, I got that. Okay, so the name of one of the companies is called, one of the companies that's writing these policies is called Seguros Estatal, or Seguros del Estatal. No, Seguros Estatales. Look that up and you'll be able to get the policy from there. So a quick summary in general of the industry here in Colombia. Basically, this is the only summary that I believe is relevant to what I'm going to share, and it's that there's almost 700 licensed companies in Colombia. Okay, so now, what kind of summary is that? Well, here's the opportunities, right? There's opportunities for buyouts, there's opportunities for investments, there's opportunities for partnerships with all of these companies, because the majority of them, here's the problem with the majority of them. The majority of them lack leadership, lack infrastructure, and certainly lack revenue. The majority of them, okay? So this is really the biggest opportunity in the cannabis business in the world right now, here in Colombia. And the reason is most of these companies are actually willing to give up sweat equity or partnership in order to help grow their business, or even for you to grow your business as a supplement to their business, right? So there's a huge opportunity. If you've ever wanted to be a real entrepreneur, if you ever wanted to be a real business owner and get into and be able to play, not play, but really play with the big boys in business, as they say, which I'm not there yet, but I'm certainly aspiring to get there. then this is the best opportunity, because basically you can come in, and if you don't have the expertise or you don't know how to manage, that's fine. You can learn. We can teach you. We can train you as well. We have development programs to become high performance individuals, and for leadership and consulting. So you want to make sure there's a lot of opportunities. Okay, most of these companies you can partner with. Now, the truth of the matter is, these we're actually working on a network also with all these 700 companies that we're going to work together, because we want to be able to really see the industry of cannabis blow up, right? It's not so much about one individual or one company. Obviously, we want every individual to be responsible for their utmost success, right? For their super success. But the reality is the success of the community as a result of the success of individuals, right? And so with this network, we're open to agreements. We can make negotiations with these businesses for you to put in sweat equity, right? So you don't have to put money up front necessarily, or there normally is a small amount, but it's minimal compared to what you'll be able to have access to, and the possibility of actually having a profitable business, a business that you can take profitable. It's not, the businesses are not like in debt. They're not in debt. They're not in bad conditions. They're just, they need help. They need that growth. They need revenue. And if you can position yourself to work with them to help grow their revenue, you're in a very beautiful position to see yourself prosper with this opportunity that exists in Colombia. So give me a second here, and I'm going to share with you guys real quick the two biggest questions I get whenever I mention this concept of renting the business licenses to people. So the first thing, the number one question I get is, what are the restrictions on these rental agreements? And the answer is plain and simple: none. You can rent to as many people as you want, whether individuals or companies. There's no limitations. Of course, if you're after the agreement's made, if you're expanding and you need to grow, that's as simple. Write a simple editing of the agreement, and that's it. So it's really simple. There's no limits to it. There's no restrictions. Okay. So the caveat with that is, obviously it's restricted to whatever permissions the license have. So that's the only restrictions, obviously. Okay, just I wanted to make sure I'm clear on that. And so then the second thing I often get is, how can this benefit any kind of company, whether anywhere in the world, whether it's, let's say you're a cannabis related research and development company that wants or needs funding or needs finances, right? I'm going to tell you how you can use this. Let's say you're a marketer. Let's say you're an accountant. Let's say you're a web developer, or you have a web development company already established. You can partner with these companies, and you can either for sweat equity, or you can partner with them in a new co, just like I mentioned earlier, and you can use that rental structure, that rental strategy to build income, and to put so that you can finance your other businesses if you decide to go that route. There's a lot of things that you can do. So that's one way that you can, no matter what business you're in, any kind, it's always good to have multiple streams of income. So whatever field you're in, it's worth at least considering making a partnership with a licensed entity so that you can establish some kind of monthly rental income for yourself that's going to be there consistent, right? And it's not going to be consistent. It's really not going to consist of a lot of extra work on your end, which we're actually, my network, my company, Cannabis Asociados, we actually also do 20 or 10% referral for contracts that are referred to us. And so there's a lot of ways that you can really benefit from this. Don't limit yourself. You be creative, use your imagination. The industry is so new here. There's lots of ways. Everybody's mind right now is focused on medical marijuana. Well, I'm going to tell you what, the most valuable resource anybody can have in the cannabis industry right now is creativity and getting out of the box. And instead of going into the box where everyone is opening a new doorway. So guys, that's pretty much it. With these, as I said, you can create a cannabis rental business license rental business, right? With that, you can rent the licenses to companies that want to do cannabis business, and you can focus on your other business if you wish to. So basically, that's the summary. The secret, the legal secret, the Colombian Edge. Get your business license rental agreement so that you can start your own company, or partner with a licensed company so you can start so you can build up the rental side of it, rental agreement side of that business, and build it for yourself an income as well. So I hope this was of value, guys. If you have any questions, let me know, and much success.